All right, as we look at the draft board for the Alabama Crimson Tide, John Metchie, the wide receiver, this is someone who stands at 6 foot, 200 pounds. He tore his ACL in the SEC championship, so certainly factoring in there. How does an injury like an ACL tear such as that in December really kind of tee him up or affect his draft stock, in your opinion?
I think it might knock him down a notch or two, but I don't think it makes that big of a difference, not in today's age of sports science. ACL has become a very common injury, and something now we're seeing guys 4 or 5 months almost be ready to come back and compete again. 6 months, the standard rehabilitation process, but I don't think there's going to be any question if he'll be ready for camp, if he'll be ready to go. And he's got enough film and enough reps on tape where guys are going to feel pretty comfortable with what they have, especially coming out of Alabama. You get to go talk to Nick Saban and that staff. They're going to be able to give you a good idea of how he's going to transition to the NFL. As a prospect outside of the injury, he's kind of what the present is at wide receiver in the NFL. You think about the different waves that we've had. You go back about a decade ago and everybody wanted the Megatron, the Randy Moss, the big giant catch radius, win the 50-50 balls. Those are still important, but now guys like Jamar Chase, who physically might not fit that mold, are able to do those things. So now you motion guys, you line them up in the slot, you line them up outside, you hand them the ball in the backfield. And I think Metchie is a perfect blueprint for what today's NFL receiver is. And that's essentially just not being one guy who does one thing well. John Metchie can run. John Metchie runs great routes. He has great hands, very reliable, and a guy that's got a ton of reps playing against the best competition in college. So I think he's somebody that could be potentially a 1, definitely a 2 or 3, and a very successful 2 or 3 in the NFL where everybody's got 5 or 6. So I think John Metchie is going to have a bright future in the NFL, especially with the way that he runs routes, especially his toughness, durability. I know he had the injury, but played a lot of football before that, in which he was still able to stay in games. So I just think he's today's prototypical NFL wide receiver, and why one of these teams probably takes him off the board pretty early.
Yeah, and I got to tell you, I did some media training with those guys. I've worked with John Metchie, been around him. Great personality, just a good kid, solid kid across the board. Really a team player, just someone I saw that really always wanted to help out his teammates, and the personality is there on the field, obviously, and off the field. So excited to see.
You kind of have to be when you have like 4 other first-round receivers on your team. I mean, because you go back to 20 and he had over 900 receiving yards and no one was talking about him. Devontae Smith won the Heisman. Yep. But it's like, oh, this other guy was almost a 1,000-yard receiver too. So in the year before that, obviously wasn't going to see as much time because you had multiple first-round picks on the field. So whether it was Jalen Waddle and then him getting injured and then Metchie having to move in, Jamison Williams coming in, okay, change the role a little bit. I think not only the mental but the physical versatility is something that's going to help him at the next level.
Talking a little trash on the field? Yeah, we get it. Trashing the state with litter? That's terrible. Keep it clean. Keep Alabama beautiful.